So what's going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video where today we are going to be taking a look at content that was cut from the final version of Cold War Zombies. There are weapons, features, some really interesting things in here that would have been in the game, some things that we would have expected to see, and other things that are new. So we're going to discuss what these items potentially would have been. This information comes from multiple different sources. I will list them as we go along. One of them is Heinz. You know what? I'm so sorry. I'm just going to see myself out. Sorry. And as always, with any leaked information, take it with a grain of salt. We don't really know what is true and what isn't, but let's get into it. So this first thread over on Twitter comes from the Cheeseburger Boys. I will link them down in the description. They said, Cold War Zombies cut content mega thread. To start off, this is content that was found in the pre-alpha, alpha and dev builds of Cold War, including word of mouth by testers. The first point is, D Machine originally was going to have a tutorial mode, not too dissimilar from the one we saw in World War II's. In this tutorial, you would have started off as normal, pistols in hand and killing zombies. It would essentially just teach you how to turn on the power. Of course, this would end the match promptly after. The only notable changes is where the spawn location is, where Quick Revive is, and Deadshot, which would have been placed at a different location. So we are told Cold War Zombies was planned to have a tutorial mode, and you know what, I can believe this. If you take a look at the game as you go through, pretty much all of the important things or the basic things that you have to do to start off are labelled. It tells you pretty much how to build the Pack-a-Punch machine. There are images on the screen which tell you how to turn on the power. The game, when you're starting off, I think it's almost like a tutorial anyway, so maybe bits of that tutorial mode were implemented into the actual gameplay so there was no need for it. And they also say the spawn location would have been different. It would have been where Quick Revive is, and Deadshot had a different location as well. Whether or not that was just for the tutorial mode, I'm not too sure, but I can see the pond area where Quick Revive is originally being a starting area. It just looks like a place where you would begin, and the fact that Quick Revive is there, that's usually a perk that you find in the starting area. Along with that, you would have just had a pistol in hand instead of your own loadout. So that's the first point, a tutorial mode cut from the game. That's not too hard to believe, and neither is the next point, because they say Sledgehammer had originally around 4 to 6 months on development before Treyarch stepped in. Zombies was supposed to be a follow-up story to World War II's, but was changed to fit into the Ether story. Chaos was obviously cut due to many generally not caring about that universe. Okay, so yet again, another point I can totally believe. Even without this information, I tweeted it multiple times. I said that I think, even though it was denied by Activision, that Sledgehammer originally started making this game. It was theirs. And if we look at the Call of Duty life cycle, this year was their turn to make Call of Duty. But we heard at the start of the year, Sledgehammer were pushed to the side, Treyarch came in, along with Raven, and they finished the project off. Why that happened, we still don't know. Maybe Activision weren't happy with what Sledgehammer made, and so brought Treyarch in to finish it off. But you can clearly tell that Sledgehammer started working on this game before Treyarch. It just feels like World War II Zombies. Some of the features we have, such as the armor system that was originally thought up by Sledgehammer, that was in World War II Zombies, and we have it in Cold War Zombies. I think the movement system kind of feels like World War II as well. What I'd like to know is how much of this Zombies mode was Sledgehammer's. Surely they didn't make any of this map because it's Nakda and Toten that's a part of Treyarch Zombies, unless Sledgehammer made the forest area and everything else, and then to make it a Treyarch Zombies game, they added in Nact. And the other point they make is the Chaos story was cut due to generally people not caring about that universe. I can say I'm one of those people, it just wasn't for me, but I was never 100% sure as to whether it would return or not, because they didn't finish the Chaos story in BO4, we were always left on a cliffhanger. I thought maybe throughout the life cycle of this game there's a chance that we could see it return, but I think that's just done forever. Anyway, moving on, they then say, originally, after completing D Machine's main quest, you would load into a separate match of a Nact survival map. Classic Nakda and Toten, it was cut for unknown reasons. Maybe DLC? Now before this, from other leaks we were told that Nact would be in Black Ops Cold War as a single survival map, and they're still saying that here. However, what they're telling us is you go into that map after completing the D Machine Easter egg, which would have been a big surprise. Why they cut that from the game, I'm not sure, because it can't have been any extra work for them. They've literally just got to cut off the outside areas of Nact. I'd love to play it as a survival map with the roof open as well. Maybe it will come as a DLC map. I don't see why it shouldn't. But yeah, apparently that was cut from the game. And then the next point is there was going to be 5 tiers per skill upgrade. This might come in DLC to make upgrading even more useful. At the moment we can only upgrade our perks 3 times. They did a really good job at replayability. This means you have to play zombies over and over again to earn enough Ethereum crystals to fully upgrade your perks. I've almost done that, and I'm sure a lot of people have as well. We are a week or so after the game's release and all of the perks have been upgraded already, so it could be that they are saving extra skill upgrades for the future that would add more replayability. The next point is Mule Kick was reportedly in development. Now this is the only time you will ever catch me saying this. I hardly ever used it, I never found it useful in any other COD, but I think for this one it'd be perfect. Having the wonder weapon, the ray gun, and just, I don't know, the Spaz 12 as well. I don't quite know what it is about the zombies, but I've never wanted Mule Kick as much. I will never take it for advantage again. Continuing the talk about perks, they then say, Wonder Fizz will allow you to drink future DLC perks and maps that do not contain said perk. I'm pretty sure that was officially announced anyway. When they do add new perks into the game, which they will be, instead of them adding an actual perk machine, we will just be able to buy them from the Wonder Fizz. Another thing that they said, although this one's not to do with zombies, is there were 2 builds of multiplayer, one with manual healing and one with auto healing. Treyarch wanted to see if it would be a smart move to bring back manual healing. Obviously in the end they didn't, but that's nice to know. Going back to zombies, there would have been a mini boss in D Machine called the Mecha Z. Think of this as the Panzer Soldat with a new faceplate, a machine gun on its left arm. It also would have a jetpack. Speaking of jetpacks, there was one early on in development. So we've heard of a jetpack being in the game before from other leaks, but what we hadn't heard of is there was another boss, I'm assuming besides from the Megaton and the Plague Hounds. This one was called the Mecha Z or the Mecha Z, and it was kind of like a Panzer Soldat with a new faceplate and a machine gun on its left arm, and it will also have jetpacks. I don't know, that thing sounds really steampunk, vibed, overpowered. Almost like the Panzer because he can fly, he has thrusters. In a way, I want to see this guy, and then at the same time, I don't. Maybe he'll be coming in a future map, but the Mecha Zombie, great name. And as for the jetpack that we'd be able to use, well, I can't actually think of what it would be useful for in D Machine. If it just allows us to fly as you would expect the jetpack to. The only locations I can think of it being helpful is getting up onto the plane wing or up onto the top of Nacht. Could it have also been used as a way to escape the zombies? And was this a Sledgehammer idea or a Treyarch idea? Either way, it was scrapped, so we'll never know. Anyway, they then talk about a cut weapon. I'm sure over the past day or so, a load of you guys would have heard of this. It is called the Ray Rifle. It's what the name implies. No textures or anything of it exists, so it may just have been caught very early on. Now, there's been a few videos going around saying we can actually see the Ray Rifle in-game. What people are talking about is if you go to your combat record and then go down the weapons list to the Wonder Weapon, D Machine, if you hover over that you will see there is a weapon pictured that is clearly not the Wonder Weapon. So people have speculated this is a placeholder or something that's been left in the game and it could be the Ray Rifle. It definitely isn't. This is simply the Purifier or the Flamethrower from Black Ops 4. I think this was just left in from Treyarch's previous game. There's actually a load of assets in Black Ops Cold War that were left over from BO4. For some reason, they are in Cold War zombies. Maybe they were just placeholders for a lot of things. But yeah, this is definitely not the Ray Rifle. It's a BO4 specialist weapon. As it turns out, the Ray Rifle was actually cut very early on, so there's actually no textures of it that exist at all. We'll never get to see this thing in action. The next thing they say is coming as DLC, which is technically cut because these are already in game, but they're being released as DLC. We are getting the Gorza, the Mach 11, the Striker, and the Galil. We already know we're getting a couple of them because we've seen them in the Season 1 roadmap. And finally, there's also cosmetic watches, weapon charms, calling cards, emblems, blueprints, all stuff you would expect, along with score streaks, which are the K9 unit, Harp Advanced UAV, Strafe Run, Flamethrower, and the hand cannon. And finally, one last thing I wanted to talk about. This isn't necessarily cut content. In fact, these are perks that will be returning to Cold War Zombies, in quotation marks, because I really don't know. It's the first time I've heard of it. These could have been cut from the game as well, as far as I know, but Warzone News over on Twitter says that there are 4 returning perks, which are Double Tap, Tombstone, PhD, and Mule Kick. He doesn't know when these are going to be coming, but soon. Speaking about each and every perk, Double Tap, I don't know if I can see that coming to the game. It would make you very, very OP considering you can already upgrade your weapons via the machine 5 times, and then you can pack a punch your weapon 3 times. You can also add an ammo mod and get elemental pop. You can be very OP if you get a fully upgraded weapon, and then having double tap to make it twice as strong. I'm not too sure on that one. And the same goes for Tombstone. The last time we saw that perk was in Black Ops 2. That was in Transit. It was kind of necessary in Transit because it was such a big map, but we haven't seen it since then. I don't think it fits D Machine's playstyle, and it's never been a perk that people have asked to bring back, so I'm not sure on that one either. Also, PhD, it would have to work different to PhD Flopper if it was to return, because we slide now, we don't flop. Also, one of the features of PhD, which was full damage, that's irrelevant now because it is stamina up that takes away full damage. The only thing it would be useful for is blast radius, but no one ever gets the ray gun anyway, so is PhD necessary? All there is the explosive slide or flop. And finally, Mule Kick, I've already said I wanted that to return, but honestly, I'm not too sure on these perks. We have been told we will get new perks, but will it be these ones? I don't know. Anyway guys, there we go, that is it. That is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating, it really does help me out. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, goodbye.